Happy Women's History Month.
It is. It's March. Women's History Month.
I love women's history.
Me too.
Although really we should celebrate it all the time. Not just once a year.
Yeah.
But at least we get a whole month. That's nice.
That's true. We get a whole month. There are a lot of people who don't even get a day.
Mm-hmm.
Types of people.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people that get overlooked.
Speaking of overlooked. We're just, that transition was seamless.
Yep. So the New York Times is doing this really cool new feature called Overlooked. And they're trying to rectify the fact that basically since the New York Times started, they haven't really featured a whole lot of obituaries about women.
Yeah, and the New York Times obituaries, they're
very selective.
They're a big deal. There has to be something quite special about you or intriguing in order to be even like in the running. Right.
And to like overlook a lot of women for that is pretty much a sign of the value that society placed on women and the impact that they made. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know that should be past tense, actually.
No, because I think now they're trying to be better about it, now that they're aware. But I was listening to The Daily, and the woman who was kind of like, oh, hey, this is fucked up. Her name is Amisha Padnani. And she was like an editor for the New York Times. Yeah, their obituary section. And people would bring up to her, like, hey, how come this person wasn't included in the obituary section? And she would think to herself, like, oh, yeah, that's fucked up, too. And she kind of just, like, put it in the back of her mind. And then she realized that there were a few people where it was, like, clearly sexism and racism that wasn't, like, helping, that was the reason why they were not included in the obituary section.
Yeah. And so some of the women that they're rectifying this omission includes Charlotte Bronte, Ida B. Wells, Mary Ewing Outerbridge, Diane Arbus, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Plath. That was one we were really surprised.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the actual recording started. Like, I said that I just felt that, like,
if anyone was going to be included at the time, given, like, the racism and sexism of the time, she was someone that was taken very seriously in her field.
Yeah.
At the time when she was alive, which was pretty rare. Then.
She wasn't overlooked in other aspects of her life with other notable publications. She wasn't overlooked, but with this she definitely was. Not saying she deserved it more than anyone else. But just that, like,
that was just surprising.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of expect it with other women just because they were overlooked in so many other ways. That I guess that makes sense. I didn't realize she was only 31. Wow. She's only 1 year older than me. That's wow. Henrietta Lacks is on the list. Mm-hmm. If you get a chance to read her book, the book about her, it's really interesting.
Wasn't there a movie? Like an HBO movie? Or series that came out?
I heard it wasn't very good though.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought I really liked the book a lot, and
Oprah did it, right?
Oprah was in it. She played one of I think she was like the great granddaughter of her.
Oh, okay.
Because the story kind of goes back and forth in present day and history. So she plays the family, like the modern day family that's still around.
Okay.
That's an interesting story.
Also, Margaret Abbott, who was the first American woman to win an Olympic championship.
So cool.
Like, Really? Like, that's not a feat worth discussing?
Mm-hmm. How about this one? Emily Warren Roebling oversaw the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge after her engineer husband fell ill. And she probably got no credit for it, too.
Oh, yeah. None. You know she didn't get any credit for it.
Ugh. Nella Larson, Ada Lovelace. And they said they're going to be adding more all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a form that they have that if there's someone that you think should be on this, you can submit the form and nominate someone.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So good for you, New York Times.
Good for you, New York Times. Good for you for stepping up and recognizing that, you fucked up.
I think it's really important to acknowledge your past mistakes as an organization. I mean, we expect that of people. So organizations, even if it's not the same people that were in power, it's part of the history. And I think it's important to acknowledge that, like with the National Geographic.
Yeah, National Geographic recently came out and they were like, hey, we were hella racist. We're sorry. We're going to acknowledge it. And, like, we know that that's shitty. Like, we're trying to grow as a company. I feel like you can't move forward as a company unless you recognize that.
Absolutely.
Like, especially with the youth right now.
The youth, yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to acknowledge your past.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge it to move past it.
And we're all growing. We all fuck up. We're all growing. We're all learning.
Yeah.
Speaking of learning, if we just called out some women that you had never heard of, you need to learn about them. Like, you need to look it up.
Yeah, so we were... I'm not going to say any names, but in this group that we're on in Facebook, somebody posted and they were like, oh, this is so great what they're doing this. I had never heard of Ida B. Wells. And it's just like, wow, how?
Yeah.
How, though?
That was frustrating.
But, like, educate yourself. This is giving some really amazing women that you should definitely read about, and it's so easy. They're all just, like, right there. You can just read this thing and learn something.
I think what bothered me about that post was not, like, it wasn't like, oh, like, I did not know about Ida B. Wells. I fucked up. It was...
She was like, guys, do you know about this person? And you're just like, oh my God.
Learn about this amazing person, guys. And it's like, well, I already did. Like,
No, but, I mean, not to shame people for being unaware of that. No. Like, you don't know what you don't know, but it's like...
Definitely, but if you're a white woman, it is you definitely have to, like, stop and not... like, bring information to the table in a way where it's like, hey, just so you know, this person existed. Because, like...
Yeah, especially because, I mean, Ida B. Wells is probably more well-known in Black communities than white communities. I guess that feels weird to say, white communities.
Well, I think that...
It's almost as if she thought that, like, because she hadn't heard of it, that nobody had known about
it.
And it's like, you don't know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean that other people aren't.
And also that attitude
and that you need to be educating other people.
Exactly. And that...
Like, it kind of felt like, when a dude's like, oh my God, have you heard about... Like,
oh, God.
Have you heard that, like, women are underrepresented and blah, blah, blah? And you're like...
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing. And also the attitude of, like, it's definitely, like, a Columbus attitude where, like, look what I've just discovered. Let me tell you about what I just discovered. And that attitude is also, like, people not taking responsibility for it. And not even necessarily responsibility, but just, like, not recognizing before you... make those tiny steps, it leads to other things. Like, to me, when somebody's like, hey, I didn't know about this person, you probably didn't know about this person either, it's definitely going into, like, appropriation territory for me, where, oh, look at this thing that I didn't know about, but now I know about it.
Yeah. And it's sort of a weird ownership of something that is not yours.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't belong to anyone. It's history.
Mm-hmm. The end.
Yeah. But that's not to say, like, don't share things when you learn them, because
And don't
you
be
should.
like,
it's kind of about how you approach it.
Yeah, and you're allowed to be excited when you learn something and when, you're bettering yourself. That's really cool.
It is.
I think that everybody should constantly be doing that.
Yeah. Just, don't let it stop you from sharing things, but, like, just be aware of sort of your tone.
Yeah.
When you're doing that.
Just think about it.
And your audience.
Your audience and your tone, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those things.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
So, what are we talking about today?
Today, for Women's History Month. Last year, we did kind of like Women's History Month, women who were like pioneers that you...
We tried to find women from history that we hadn't heard of before.
Yeah.
And that we thought maybe you hadn't, but good for you if you did.
Yeah. Good for you if you did. Or just women who like didn't necessarily get as much recognition.
Yeah, exactly.
As other women or other pioneers.
Like everyone knows Amelia Earhart.
Exactly.
Not everyone knows Bessie Coleman.
Yes.
She doesn't get the same recognition that Amelia Earhart does, but she actually went over a lot more hurdles.
Yeah.
So, that's what we tried to do last year.
That's what we tried to do last year. This year, we're focusing on people who are not necessarily as in the spotlight or getting like the same recognition as other people again, but are
in modern times.
Yeah, are modern.
Women making history now.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Me too. And they all should have Lego figures.
They should all have Lego figures. They should all have... I think that they should all have, like, a statue somewhere.
That'd be cool.
Around.
There's plenty of people that have statues that don't deserve them.
Yeah. Plenty.
So many. So many white guys.
White men with statues.
So many white guys. Do you listen to that podcast? So many white guys?
I don't.
It's Phoebe Robinson?
I've heard of it.
But she interviews people, and she has a token white guy on every season. But everybody else is
That's
non-white guy.
I like
which
that.
is pretty cool. Yeah.
I like that. It's kind of what we try to do with designated dudes, but we've been forgetting.
No, we haven't been forgetting. We just ran out of them. We don't have that many in our lives.
I mean, there aren't that many that I feel could add a whole lot to a conversation. I also I would bring dudes on just to get their opinion when I know that it's not going to be the same as mine. So I could be confrontational.
Tell them they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. That's the tone we're going for, right?
Oh, we should ask that one guy that I don't remember his name. Where I'm not friends with him on Facebook, but you're friends with him on Facebook, the white guy.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Okay, so there's this guy.
Can we talk about him?
Yes.
Let's talk about him for
there's this guy.
Not to like get super sidetracked.
No, but there's this guy.
Talk about him.
There's this guy on Facebook, right?
What's his first name? Matt.
Yeah, that's as much as I'll say. His name is Matt, and he is a friend of a friend that I see around at things, but I don't know if I've ever had more than one conversation with him. And I've thought about defriending him because he's so okay. So he never says anything that's outwardly misogynist or racist, but he toes the line in a way that you're like, this feels like it's misogynist or racist, but I can't actually put my finger on explaining why, and I don't even know how to.
And I feel like,
and he thinks he's being funny, and it's never funny.
Yeah, and I feel like there's always, well, from what I read, because I'm not friends with him, so I don't get ever. I mean, I have met this guy.
Yes.
So
I send you messages.
He sends me
screenshots.
I feel like when somebody does call him out, it's never this is what he never says what he actually intended. He has some bullshit excuse about what he was trying to say. And it's not real. That's not real.
No. Oh, he had, okay, so the most recent one which I just like cannot actually figure out what it's about. But he said this was a repost. I think it was like a screenshot of a tweet or something. It's like, wow, how original. Oh, okay. Ready Player One is just 50 Shades for dudes. I don't know what that means, but like, there's no way that's not misogynist, right?
Ready Player One is just 50 Shades for dudes. I don't actually get it. I don't know what that could mean. Should we ask Matt? Maybe Matt gets it. Hey, dear. Come here. Were you listening?
No.
Oh. So there's this guy.
Okay. I like staying over here so it gives the echo effect. Thanks.
But I'm asking you because you've read Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this guy on Facebook and he put like a screenshot of somebody's tweet and the tweet said, what did it say?
It said, oh, okay, Ready Player One is just 50 Shades for dudes.
What does that mean?
I have...
Okay, so like I don't...
Like the only thing I could think is that he thinks that 50 Shades of Grey is only for women and that Ready Player One would only be for dudes.
Okay, well he can...
But like, what's the connection?
I don't know. I'm trying to find...
Is it because it's like...
because
like video games and like just like
because
video games.
Like dudes get nostalgic and that's like a weird fetish thing?
I don't think it has anything to do with a fetish. I think it's just that like dudes like video games and like
and women like.
I think that he's saying like the point of view that he has is that chicks like paperback novels and guys like comic books
and video games. Well,
yeah.
he can fuck off because like.
Unless he's saying that in 50 Shades of Grey there was a point where like there was a page where the protagonist became incredibly fit all of a sudden, because that happens in Ready Player One.
No, I don't think that's what he's saying. Good joke. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Okay. And then the one that we started paying attention was right after Oscars, he posted the joke that everyone was making. And
I swear to God, if you say the Finding...
Yes!
No!
He said, well, at least Grinding Nemo one.
No.
And I'm just like, dude... So many people have made that joke. It's not original. You didn't think of it yourself.
But
shut the fuck up.
But of course he would make that joke because he's like this. He is the exact kind of white guy that 1 would be a joke stealer, 2 would not be funny, and 3 would have like no problem reducing a movie about immigrants and the Mexican experience to something like that. Like, I can't wait until the next event where I am in the same room as this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna forward.
He also really liked 3 Billboards, which is not surprising.
Not surprising.
Because it's like a racist redemption story. Cool story, bro. Let's see. Sometimes you know how you were saying last time how you keep a few people on your Facebook just so you can like get a little perspective?
Oh, yeah.
I keep him just because I want to see what these like dudes that refuse to get with the fucking times but still think they're okay bros, what they're up to. So this person checked into Black Panther. The caption to the check-in was, "This movie is about saving jazz, right?" And I guess the context...
He really liked La La Land.
Apparently the context is that he really liked La La Land and wasn't crazy about Moonlight, shocker, and didn't think that Moonlight should have won over La La Land at the Oscars last year for Best Picture. And then the comments are kind of weird too.
But I still don't get it. Even if that's what he's
it's not funny. Like the
I
joke,
don't get it.
I don't get it because I think what he's saying is racist in some way because it's something about black people and jazz. Because the only connection between Moonlight and Black Panther is black people.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I can't think of another one besides the fact that like these were stories made with black people from their experience, like from their perspective. Yeah.
So then one of his bro friends also named Matt.
Of course.
No offense to your husband.
He knows it.
Comments and says, "I look forward to your next post telling people how woke you are for seeing this movie." And then the original Mad comment replies to that, "La La Land over Moonlight. That's woke, bruh."
I don't fucking get it. I don't get this guy. I don't understand anything he says.
I don't get it either. Wait, hold on. Let me read you now.
He's one of these people, I want to physically fight him, and I know that I could
I really
beat
want
him
to fight
in a
him
physical
too.
fight.
Let me see if I can see the what the mutual friends explanation was for this. It's a reference to La La Land because that was about jazz in some ways. And the criticism of La La Land was that it was about white people saving jazz. And then he's saying he feels like it's a really convoluted joke saying that an all-black movie is better candidate for... Wait. Just that he had I don't get it. I don't even get it at all. I don't get it. He really liked La La Land and he's making some sort of joke about how people didn't like it and jazz and black people like jazz. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
The end of the story, like, he can choke. Like, that's all I want. That's all I have to say. Like,
but
I just
all
don't
of
like this
all
guy.
of his posts are like this. They're all like
that.
Like
all
he's
of them.
trying really hard to be like edgy and like sort of offensive, but not too offensive, but like offensive in the way that you can't call him out for something specific.
Like, honestly, he is one of those people that probably voted for Trump but will never admit it because he works in the industry and he knows that he, like, wouldn't be able to survive.
But then he, like, will post some liberal things and you're just like, I don't believe
it.
You.
I don't believe the liberal stuff.
Yeah, I don't either. I think in his heart, he's a misogynist, racist person.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think the thing that bothers me the most is that people don't fucking call him out on it.
Oh, yeah, but that's because all of his friends are, like, white men who are in the same industry as him, and they don't feel a need to call him out on it because they aren't personally affected by it.
Right. See, that's what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very offended by that attitude.
I am too. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that if you're a white guy and you see this, like, the first thing you should feel is responsibility because he's making all of you look bad. When my husband doesn't take that responsibility, we have a long discussion about it. So, like,
yeah,
you know, I just fucking people.
Yeah, I just like, listen, like, for me to be someone that's like a roundabout acquaintance and a white woman, just...
You can't say anything to him because...
Like, it's not my place to call that out.
The point wouldn't get across. He wouldn't take you seriously.
Exactly, because this person is someone who clearly just doesn't...
He would not care about your opinion.
He wouldn't. So, like, I can't be the one. It has to be his white dude friends.
Yeah.
That are going to be like, bro, that's not okay.
He would just turn you into, like, an angry feminist. And all of the friends that you do have in common, I guarantee would not come to your defense. They would just, like, stay silent. And all of the friends that you don't have in common would defend him. So it's just, like, there's no point for you, like, it's not going to happen for you to do it. You can't do it.
Yeah, shockingly, he's not one of my friends. Can you believe it? That our friendship never blossomed, despite we run in some of the same crowds?
I don't even remember this guy.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, like, I do. But
he's pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
Other than his, like, weird social media presence. Okay, I don't know how much we're going to leave of that in, but...
We got it out.
It felt really good to talk about it.
It did feel good to talk about it. It felt good. So, what else feels good? Talking about these ladies, these people, these wonderful people who are out there just, like, doing their thing. Doing what I don't do every day. So, I'm already impressed.
Yeah.
Like,
they pick a cause or a mission, and they go for it.
They go for it. And I just want to say that a lot of most of the women that we have, like we said before, are not like women that you hear about in the news every day. They're not women who are like praised in media all the time for their efforts. And there are a lot of women out there like that.
You may hear about them a little bit, but they're not always in the spotlight. So we want to shine a little light on them.
Shine a little light on them.
Hopefully you've heard of one or two of them already. If not, this is pretty cool.
This is cool. So should we talk about the children first?
The children?
So we all know what happened in Florida. We don't have to go into that because that will just be a long story. So on March 14th, mostly at high schools, right?
I think so. Well, I saw quite a few articles of
colleges
walkouts at other schools too, or younger too.
Yeah.
Well, kids around America organized the walkouts.
Right. Schools did not do it, but it was also supposed to involve, some teachers were involved.
Yes, definitely. But I think what's extraordinary is that a lot of the walkouts were organized by students.
Yeah.
And a lot of the schools where walkouts took place were supported by the schools and the administration of the schools, which is really great. But not all of them were.
No, unfortunately, some schools, there were disciplinary actions that were taken after.
Yeah. So one of our young women, making history, Rosa Rodriguez was one of those students who was her school in New Jersey, Sayreville War Memorial High School. Interesting name for high school. The administrators of the school threatened to suspend students that walked out. So she just decided to go anyway. And she was there were only a few. Originally they reported she was the only one, but I guess later they confirmed that there were a few other students that worked out as well. But she said that the consequence didn't matter because the issue can no longer be overlooked.
It's true.
And that was pretty brave.
Yeah, I like that. I just am really proud of their youth right now.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to save us, you guys. I hope so. I have a lot of faith in them to save us. I
hope when we get to be the age of the boomers, right, that the boomers are right now, that we don't get in the way of progress the way that they do. No offense to our parents, but I
don't think. Well,
your generation kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
You fucked a lot of shit up.
I was discussing this with my assistant the other day. He was probably really high, so he was just letting me talk.
So just every day,
every day, because he was just letting me go on and on. But I think that our generation and the youth, that generation, we are going to behave with each other differently than any other generations before us, and that's because of technology and social media. And the way that everything has been progressing, clearly with, the printed press and other stuff, when those things happen, communication takes a huge jump. And so for us, with our parents, they didn't have the same communication outlets that we do. And so they didn't have the same tools for learning that we do. Yeah. Well, the internet
bridges some gaps with access to information.
Yeah.
Which is that's one of the barriers to progress is lack of information and ignorance. Mm-hmm. And I think that will make a really big deal. Like you're saying, when we get older, we're not going to disconnect.
Yeah.
We're going to stay connected.
Yeah.
The way we are now.
And I just feel like we're a lot more open than previous generations. And it's because we can connect with people and we can see different perspectives. And
well, we grew up on the internet connecting with all sorts of people around the world that, our parents weren't exposed to that kind of thing when they were younger, when they were young. That's just how we grew up. We grew up being exposed to lots of different types of people.
Yeah.
And as one of my women we're going to talk about later, the more types of people that you talk to and learn their stories, the harder it is to be a hateful person.
Yeah.
Because when you know someone, it's harder to hate them.
Yeah.
Unless they're a real jerk.
Yeah, like that Matt guy. Like, I don't
He
think knowing him
sucks.
will change my opinion.
No.
But
totally. There are exceptions.
there are exceptions.
But I don't hate him because he's a white guy.
No.
I hate him because he's an ignorant, misogynist, racist white guy.
And he doesn't want to learn. So yeah, that's our first gal. There were a lot of people who I think were lone protesters at their schools. There were a few that I saw like on different websites that were really cool. And unfortunately, like we were talking about, a lot of schools took action against their students, and that's bullshit. And also, if you are one of these people who supports the NRA, but you don't support children protesting, like, fuck off.
Yeah.
That will never make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously not going to argue with somebody who is like that because it's just, there's no point, but it doesn't make sense.
No, absolutely not. If you believe that people should have the right to defend themselves against the government with guns, which, I mean, we all know that's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Then people should be able to protest things as well.
Yeah.
And children are people too.
That's a right. It's a right. Everyone has it. That right doesn't start when you turn 18. That right starts the minute that you're born, or the minute you become a citizen, or the minute you step into this country. So that doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those arguments going back and forth this week. Also...
Oh, the walk-up thing?
Yes.
I knew it.
Can we talk about that?
Yes. You explain it.
Okay. So hashtag walk up started trending over the... Not over, but around the same time as the hashtag walkout was kind of spreading.
It was a response to the walkout protests.
And what hashtag walk up was that you were supposed to walk up to someone if you're in high school or any school, I guess, and kind of, I don't know, befriend them,
reach out to the awkward, or
somebody that you think is uncomfortable or needs a friend,
or bullied,
or bullied, and make them feel better, or whatever the intention is there. I am so against this because it is not the responsibility of children to... I mean, no child should be like you. Okay, if you're like in school, like, don't be mean. Obviously, don't be a bully.
Yes, but
it is no child's responsibility to prevent any sort of violence in school or in like anywhere. No. So it's not their responsibility. I don't know who started that. It may have been started with like nice intentions, but it's not.
You can't essentially tell kids
that they're responsible for their own safety. That's not true.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't be doing that.
No. And it's not a solution. It's just not a solution. There are solutions.
No, and also kids aren't like
equipped,
like psychological professionals,
exactly,
to deal with. Like, I'm not, and this is not an argument as to like how mental health plays into this issue, because it does, and it's a very complicated thing. But like, it's unreasonable to put that on children.
It is unreasonable, and it's just, it won't work. It's not a solution. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't.
No. That said, like, yes, be nice.
Yeah, be nice.
Be nice.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
It's just like, be nice to each other, and like sometimes kids are just shitty. And, like, that happens. Like, people can be shitty. I can be shitty. You can be shitty. Anybody can be. But, like, when you are, you can also, like, just, like, apologize.
Mm-hmm. And, really, that's not going to stop anything, because look at other shootings that happen that are just, they're because of hate. I
was reading, you cannot get through to somebody who has that plan.
And I mean, if you are applying that logic to, like, Virginia Tech... So, like, women are supposed to just give men attention that they don't want to, just to create
a safe environment for them, but that's not creating a safe environment for them.
No. You can't use that logic in any of these situations. It's messed up.
It doesn't work.
It's not on the victims to prevent the crime.
No, it's not.
It's on our lawmakers.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's what these little babies are doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for your efforts. We appreciate you. We see you.
We do.
We love you.
Who's your person you want to talk about?
Oh, I have so many. Let's see. Let's keep on the youth and young people. Who's your favorite? My favorite.
Just kidding. We're not picking favorites.
We're not going to pick favorites. Okay, so let's keep on the youth and young people for a second. Right now, I'm going to do a bit of a warning that my next person, I will talk about sexual assault. So
skip ahead.
I don't know how far to skip ahead, but
we haven't recorded it yet.
Yeah, we haven't recorded it, so sorry. The next person is Laura Atkins. And Laura Atkins, in May of 2016, was at a party at a friend's home, and she did what, a lot of us did in our youth, and she got a little too drunk, and she was raped by a fellow classmate. And I don't need to, I don't really want to go into, the whole details of, you can look it up if I think that if you are more interested in Lauren's story, you should look it up because it does have to do with what she's doing now, but I don't need to go into the whole thing. So basically, she was too drunk to consent, and a friend of hers was taking care of her, and another friend came in and offered to help take care of her, and that was the friend that ultimately ended up raping her. When this happened, after it happened, she had sent herself a text message, and she was obviously intoxicated because the text message is it's not spelled correctly. So she was texting herself, and she was texting a friend about it as well so that she could remember. Which was really smart of her to do. And then the next day she confronted him, and
on text, right?
Through text. And she took screenshots of everything, and she was documenting everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't deny what happened. But he considered that he considered it just the two of them having sex, even though that she was clearly drunk, clearly could not consent. She never consented. And he even sent text messages out to friends saying, hey, you're going to hear about this. She was drunk and I had sex with her, but I didn't rape her. So
oh my God.
Yeah, he did not understand that what he was doing was rape because in his head, she wasn't saying no.
But how could you think that's okay? How could you think that's okay? Regardless of what definition you give it or what word you're putting to it, how could you think that that's fine?
I mean, when you're a teenage boy and up until this point you've been given anything you wanted and nobody's ever told you no, or nobody's ever told you that you have to treat people a certain way, I don't this is...
Well, it's about education.
Yeah, that's what the whole thing is about education. So, not going into anything further with her case, it was eventually closed because they couldn't prove that it was rape because he didn't understand that it was rape. So, there was a big back and forth between if it was rape, if it wasn't rape.
I mean, so you're telling me that, if I murder someone but I don't know that that's murder... that's fine.
In Oklahoma, I guess they don't really.
I don't get no. Fuck that.
So after it was closed, she decided to continue doing fundraisers in her community to collect money for consent classes that would be given to the school district's middle school.
Which is where you need to start with this.
Yes. 100%. I think that the minute you get into the 6th grade, education should start.
Yeah.
And then Stacey Wright came to her, and Stacey Wright has an organization called Yes All Daughters. And in the fall of 2014, she organized the group and led a protest after multiple teenage girls in her hometown, which is also Lauren's hometown, of Norman, Oklahoma, were raped and bullied out of the same school, which was also the school that Lauren attended. You asked, why somebody would think that was okay. Everything is telling this kid that it's okay. Even in his own school, when this happens to other people and it's brought up, because this was in 2014, he was there for the protests, and people said during the protest that, school administrators that it was totally fine and acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So she started the organization after that. The two of them got together in January to write a law with which would require students to be educated on consent in public schools. It was to introduce House Bill 2734, and that was to address the need for consent and healthy relationship education. And so what that bill does is allow for the development of age-appropriate programs on consent and healthy relationship behavior. These programs will teach students to consent and how to recognize and prevent relationship violence, including physical and emotional relationship abuse. It will address relationship communication skills, emotional health, and accountability, which I
That's
like that
great.
they talked about physical and emotional relationship abuse because younger girls between 14 and 17 are more susceptible to sexual assault with a partner than any other age group, or sexual coercion than any other age group. And so, like we said, it definitely needs to start. 16 to 19. They are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. 44% of sexual assaults happen before the age of 18, which is a crazy number. That's a crazy number. So they wrote this bill together. And then on March 7th of this year, the bill was passed on the Oklahoma House floor with 54 votes. It still has to go through the Senate to be an actual law. But just the fact that...
So is this a federal law that they're putting into place?
No.
It's
a state law.
Okay.
But hopefully having a state law in somewhere like Oklahoma, that will just lead to other states taking that initiative and putting those programs in place.
That tends to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to where that already exists as part of programs. Usually California and Massachusetts are among the first states to have put those types of things into place. When I see like lists of like states that have these laws, I'm like, yay, good for my home states.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a really long time for it to ripple out.
Oh my God.
Into especially Midwestern states to
Yeah.
take the longest. So the fact that it's starting there, maybe that will give it some good momentum.
Yeah, I think that seed will definitely spread.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I think in Oklahoma, they have higher budgets for their education.
Yeah.
And it's like different. I don't know for sure. I think so. I think. Guys, I didn't do the research on that. But I think that they have higher budgets for education, where in other states they don't really have that. But
I
hopefully
really wish
it's
this
like
was a federal law, though.
Yeah.
Like, I just think sex education in general there should be a federal mandate onto what needs to happen.
I'm pretty sure that there is a federal budget for sexual education as far as safe relationships go.
Within schools?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I think that there's a federal budget and then each state has their own budget given to them. I read that somewhere years ago. I don't know like how accurate it is now.
Well,
but
I never learned about that when I had sex ed. I didn't learn about consent. I didn't learn about abusive relationships, emotional abuse, coercion. I didn't learn about any of that.
I went to a public school and we did, but when your education for emotionally healthy relationships is an hour and a half long and you're just like circling some answers on a worksheet, like it's not going to get through to anybody.
Yeah. Well, my only real sex ed was in middle school, but it was mostly just anatomy stuff. And then when I get to high school, I was in private high school, a Catholic high school, so we had we had chastity-based education that was real interesting.
Oh, I bet that was interesting.
But none of us like took it seriously. Like we were all making fun of it, and so like, what is that doing for anyone?
Yeah,
like we were just joking about it, and so it's a waste of money. Like to do that, give us like at least something about relationships.
You're gonna
poo-poo, like, actual
yeah.
sex
Yeah,
ed.
at least with relationships. When I was in high school, I did an article for the newspaper. Mr. Carolee let me do it about sexual assault in our high school, and then they shut our newspaper down.
Oh, no.
So I never got to publish it. But I don't think it, I don't think it was me, like, it wasn't, like, my article, obviously, that shut the newspaper down. It was, like, lack of anybody wanting to be in the newspaper that shut it down.
Yeah.
But shout out to Mr. Carolee, who was very supportive and, like, wanted me to, he's dead now, which I'm, like, heartbroken. He was, like, the teacher that, like, changes your life.
My teacher died as well.
Oh.
It was very sad. He was pretty young, too.
Yeah, so was my teacher. It was really sad when he died. Like, people loved him. But that's because he was so supportive, and he wanted his students to do well, and he also wanted them to feel, like, safe in their communities. And that was a part of it for me, was writing about it. So shout out to Mr. Carolee for...
Shout out to all those teachers out there that are, like, just doing what they can.
Yeah, you know.
To make a difference.
They're trying. And
we see you. We see you.
Shout out to Lauren, who wrote a fucking bill. Like, she co-wrote a bill. And
it's amazing.
Now it's going to the Senate, and hopefully it passes. That's great. The youth.
Love them.
Youth. Love them.
Another youngin'. That's terrible. No, I'm not gonna do that.
You don't want to say youngin'?
It's terrible. Another young person that is making impact today and every day is Yara Shahidi. Do you know her?
Yes. I love her.
From the actress Blackish. Is she still on Blackish, or is she, like, at college?
She's at college on Blackish. I haven't seen her in any episodes, but I'm sure she'll, like, come back for an episode.
Yeah. She'll be a guest star.
Yeah.
She is 18 years old, and she's, like I said, an actress, but she's also an activist, and she has, like, a huge social media following, like 200 million Instagram followers. So she uses that platform that's been created for her by who she is and her job to advocate for issues that she finds really important, like diversity in Hollywood, girls' education, and voter turnout. Her current initiative is 18 by 18, and that's encouraging young people to vote in upcoming elections. And she worked with Michelle Obama on her initiative, Let Girls Learn, with the United Nations to launch a mentorship program called Yara's Club, and that was through the Young Women's Leadership Network. And I think she's taking a gap year. She got admitted to Harvard, and then after she's done with her gap year, I guess while she's working on Grownish, she's gonna go attend Harvard. And then I'm sure she'll do lots of other amazing, cool things.
She's so cool. I don't mean to, like, reduce her to her looks, but she's one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever seen.
She's beautiful inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's just very stylish as well.
Yeah. I'm so intimidated by her. Not just, like...
Yeah.
Because she's, like, gorgeous and stylish, but she is so outspoken.
Yeah, she's very cool.
And she's so sure of herself, which is something that, like, I definitely struggle with. I think it's so cool.
Well, I think especially it's a big thing because a lot of young actors and actresses who grow up on set have a difficult time in, adjusting to adulthood, or they get abused and taken advantage of in a lot of ways. And, like, the fact that she's able to be so mature and put so much of her influence to good use is really awesome.
It's really special.
Yeah.
My next person is not necessarily a youth, but she's definitely working with youth.
That's cool.
So my next person is Aja Brown, who is currently the mayor of Compton. And why I bring her up with the youth is because she made history. At 31, she was the youngest mayor ever elected to the city of Compton. Just
that's
like
so cool.
That's only a year older than me, and she's like the mayor of a city. That's so cool to me.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah, and she announced recently, just a couple weeks ago, that she is going to be running to represent California's 44th congressional district, which I think is just awesome. Like, and she's running. I guess who she's running against?
You told me.
Stacey Dash. Ew.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't remember, Stacey Dash was on Clueless, and she is she was on Clueless, and then she graduated to Fox and Friends, where, was she fired from Fox and Friends?
I don't know. Was she?
Or was she just let go?
She's a very ignorant person.
Yes, she is. It's not about her.
It's not about her.
It's not about her.
Hopefully she does not get very far in her run.
I kind of hope that, because I think that there will be an election in June, and that will decide who the two people go on to run against each other in November, and that will be, like, that's regardless of party. So
yeah.
It could be the two, like, it could be the two of them, it could be two Democrats, it doesn't matter. I kind of hope it's the two of them, and that Aja Brown, like, really beats her.
Yeah.
I'm petty like that. I don't care. Like, I hope it's...
Is that our district?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
I don't know either. I don't know what district we are.
Ooh. Side note.
Find out your district.
Find out your district. I'm usually much better about this stuff, but we're in the future going to be doing hopefully a few episodes about elections and voting and local government. And so if there's any questions regarding that or something that you've just been curious about, let us know and we'll try to cover it.
Tell us what you want to know, because we're not the experts on these things, so we're gonna get some experts.
Yeah, we're gonna get some experts
who know what they're talking about.
Back to Aja. Okay, so this is from her website. It says, Mayor Brown has been successful in reducing the unemployment rate by 50% in Compton from 18% in July of 2013 to 9% in the month of December 2015, while successfully attracting new companies and employment in the city. That is huge. That is a huge number.
Yeah.
She could be president someday. I'm just really excited
about
it. Me too. The mayor has executed policy that improves access to Compton City employment through the first source hiring agreement adopted in October 2013, which mandates 35% local hiring for city-assisted and funded projects that oftentimes yields neighborhood improvements. So that means that on top of, like, taking care of the neighborhoods and getting these projects put into place for Compton and just making it a safer place for people to live, it's 35% of those people have to live within the city limits, which is also, like, huge for a city like Compton. And on top of that, Mayor Brown has also led young women and girls empowerment efforts for the esteemed partnership Girls Fly, a global initiative geared towards exposing young women and girls to careers in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
Cool.
She's so cool.
She is cool.
I want to meet her. I mean, I'm sure I could. If I did, like, the research on where she was, I could probably go meet her. What if we got her on SheSplain?
Ooh.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Really cool.
Love her. Love her.
So, so we did a lot of youth focus today. Which
it just kind of happened that way. We didn't plan it.
Kind of happened that way. The youth are uprising.
We're just so proud of them. I can't wait until they take over.
It's really exciting.
It is exciting.
And do you ever look at these young people and you're just like, whoa, I wish I was as cool as them.
Oh my God. Yes, I do. I definitely do. This is like a hard time to be a youth, and there are definitely things that I do not ever, like, I'm so grateful that I did not grow up during this time. But then, like, I see them, like, really putting in the effort and taking care of each other, and that's just, like, that's so cool. I wish our generation was a little bit better about that. I think that we try.
Yeah, we do. We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're working on it.
We are.
We're working on it.
But there are so many more women making history right now. And we're going to talk about some more of them.
Talk about some more.
Later.
Come back and
see us.
Tune in next time. We'll talk about more awesome people for Women's History Month.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. SheSplain.